Record and welcome everybody to ACIM Talks. And I'm working with this group that usually has quite a bit to say, but I believe it's quite valuable. And if you're watching this, I think that you will too. It's Monday, October 2nd, 2023. And so we've got our small but mighty gathering for another episode of ACIM Talks. And I'm smiling already. Listen, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that had a chance to watch on YouTube. I was at Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing. I gave the Sunday morning message yesterday for the second time. So it was Reverend Jim Part 2. And I talked about practical spirituality again. PS 102, the problem of scale. So I thought it went very well, both with the live audience and hopefully, everybody enjoyed it. If you didn't get a chance to see it, if you go to that Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing link, it's still on there, I'm sure. Okay.
Thank you.
If you can't find it, I have it in my, I emailed it to myself. So I have it in an email if someone needs it.
Well, good deal.
I could use it. Thank you, Kathleen. I'd appreciate that.
Oh,
thank you.
Great.
And I'm glad. So it was received well, you think?
Yeah, go ahead. Was there someone, did anybody see it yet?
I was only able to stay for half of it. So that's why I emailed myself so I could get the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I watched it on YouTube this morning and I liked it and I got some good follow-up. So we'll just, hey, a sense of leisure is essential. I try and do my homework. You could akin that to just chopping wood and carrying water, right? And the outcome's not in my control. So I'm trying to kind of erase myself from the process. And my life is so much easier and more carefree. That's that Eastern non-attachment philosophy, right?
Yes, and you know what? I thank you because I had never thought of using that before I pray. That erase myself. Thank you. Just never.
Thank you wholeheartedly because it helps me get into the deepest meditations. It seems to really work. So to hear you say that, it's like a double blessing, right?
Yeah.
It's like then you said it, but you didn't know you said it.
No, I did, but I didn't think to use it before I was going into meditation or prayer or something like that. I mean, I use it a lot, but I had not thought of it in that context.
It really helps to get me in the zone. So wonderful. I won't belabor it, but thank you. And you said thank you back. It's a win-win.
Sure is.
Well, listen, is there anything else anyone wants to say, talk about? Then why don't we get into our agenda? I brought some music tonight that I hope you will enjoy. So I'll share screen and see if I can get it started here. My apologies, ladies. What is going on? Bear with me just a minute. All right. Says, "Oh, snap." Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's never a good sign, is it? Let me start over, okay? Bear with me.
Uh-huh.
And make sure I'm in the right Google account. Okay. You see how patience is a virtue, right? So we'll go here. And we're on Zoom. And I'm gonna do weekly talks. All right. And I'm going to play this song. I hope you enjoy it.
Take a breath right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here, right here. Take a breath right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here, right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here, right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here, right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here, right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here, right here. Take a breath, take a holy breath here, right here. As we're lifted up into the spiritual domain, we begin to see a little bit differently. There's a broadcast going on. This broadcast comes from within you. There's a song singing in you. There is something within you that wants to express. There is something within you that wants to come forward. You are anointed and appointed by the Spirit as the image and likeness of divine and ultimate reality. As we bang in that domain, we bring heaven to earth as a spiritual practice. Wake up and say to yourself, I'm taking an adventure in paradise. And guess what? I'm taking you with me. I'm activating my spiritual stimulus package. I'm taking an adventure in paradise. Begins with an awareness that you're sourced and fueled and funded by a renewable resource which is within you. It never runs out.
All right, so we made it through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like that? Have you heard it before?
I haven't heard that song, but
Yeah, I
I've
liked
seen
it.
him. I've seen him
Yeah.
in person years ago, and I love him.
Who
Absolutely love him.
is it?
Michael Beckwith.
Yeah. And it's
Wasn't that who it was?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Was that because you could read the title or you knew his voice or what?
No, I would not have known if I didn't read the title, but
Okay.
I just so admire him. And just by the way, he did so the Erase Yourself Utterly comes from what something I studied called metapsychiatry, which is very much like the course. And Michael Beckwith has studied metapsychiatry with Dr. Hara, and he credits Dr. Hara in one of the books that Michael Beckwith wrote.
Absolutely. So you see, we're in good company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Dr. Hora would endorse a Be Nice campaign?
Oh yes, for sure.
Has
If he was still,
anyone asked him, or
he's not with us on this plane anymore.
so what about Michael Beckwith, who credits Dr. Hora? Do you think Michael might be willing to endorse, participate in a Be Nice campaign?
I think you should reach out to him and find out.
Well, I'm planning to do so. So, you know, you guys, as well as who we send our recordings to, are in a inner group of family that I don't mind you knowing this is where I'm headed with this.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Beckwith would be a wonderful person.
That's what
Yeah.
all the practical spirituality workshops and speaking engagements are about, are to see if we can get enough traction and refine it enough to it's ready to start reaching out
Mm-hmm.
to high level associates, I call them. Because that's the only way we can get the numbers to start addressing that problem of scale, is by getting people to join together in a more massive effort.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many years will this take? Well, when it's famous, you can say you were one of the pioneers. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
And if I can move through this life and work on something like that, I'll be like Sadhguru said, a happy failure.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, that's not what we're here to talk about. But all I'm saying, and you know, I was ordained through Michael's ministry, Agape
Oh,
Interfaith Ministries.
through Agape?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
I
So
didn't know that.
that philosophy, or what do you call a person that put me through the ordainment process, was from Michael's organization, you see.
Ah,
So all I'm saying is I'm glad to participate in something that a lot of people are kind of willing to engage with. And that the thing is, the more I get into it, the more I see how many others in one way or another are kind of doing the same thing. It's just they have their own brand of it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe with all due respect, they can rise above that at the same time towards some simple, generalized things like practical spirituality. There may be a lot of Jewish people that would give it a try. They could still keep doing what they're doing, but at any rate,
Mm-hmm.
comments and I'll move on. This is not, well, I guess it's what Spirit had is I'm having fun. How about you?
Yeah.
Nice to speak with you all. Any other comments? Yeah. So looking at your faces, I think I'm going to get a big one at the end of this. We are with my friend Charles Anderson, right?
Right.
And we're moving our way through A Course in Miracles and the 12-step program. And we are starting tonight on page 11, paragraph 2. So I'll just put that on screen and we can get started, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, to share sound. So I'm trying to make this a bit bigger for us here. Looks like I'm gonna have to do better than that. I want to go bigger. All right, is that getting near where you can read it? Maybe
That's good. That's good.
All right, good deal. So, but give me a minute. I need to move this to where I can use it as well. Okay. We're on paragraph 2 on page, that's page 10. So this is page 11. Maybe to halfway get us in the mood, let's just start at the top of the page. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So I have Kathleen first, and then Sweetie second, Joan third, Dee fourth, and Jim 5. Okay. Kathleen, we're all set.
Okay. Who can determine or who is determinable when you walk into meetings, your readiness is really here, your readiness to really hear what the 12-step program teaches, or your willingness to share then with those associations your mutual helplessness. All good 12-step program teachers understand that you come together in a meeting to share your inability to deal with the world and the recovery from addiction that you have experienced through this conscious contact with God. This is what all Course in Miracles groups should be. This is indeed what the workbook of A Course in Miracles is designed to bring about.
Well, wait, what is indeed what the workbook of the Course in Miracles designed to bring about? Just so we're clear, what's he talking about in this paragraph?
Conscious contact with God.
Yeah.
I think mutual helplessness.
Mm-hmm.
All good 12-step program teachers understand that you come together in a meeting to share your inability to deal with the world and the recovery from addiction that you have experienced through this conscious contact with God. Somebody else read it. Start with all good 12-step program teachers. Could you do that again, Kathleen?
Sure. Sure. All good 12-step program teachers understand that you come together in a meeting to share your inability to deal with the world and the recovery from addiction that you have experienced through conscious contact with God.
Yeah, hold on just a minute, Kathleen. I have someone here. Let's just see who it is here. Okay. Hello. Wait. Ask to. Hello. Would you unmute yourself? Hi, Peace. Hi, Peace. All right, why don't we give this a minute? I have someone that's showing up with Peace, but I can't get them to unmute. Hello, who's there? Why don't we pick up from where we left off? I'm sorry for the repetition. Kathleen read it over, right?
Yes.
Summarize that. All good 12-step program teachers understand what?
Well, they understand the place that's the space that you are in when you come into the program. That it's that we're at a place where we can no longer do what we've been doing because it's not working. And that the recovery from the addiction that we experienced is through a conscious contact with a,
okay.
Well, here he says God, but there it would be like a higher power.
So all good program teachers understand that the purpose for coming together at a meeting is to tell the story of your hopelessness and how your conscious contact with God was your salvation. Is that it that it's saying that all Course in Miracles groups should be? Is it not this salvation from hopelessness that the workbook of the course is designed to also bring about?
Well, yeah, the lessons in the workbook are programmed so they bring you out of the illusion. So it's they bring you out of the illusion into the reality, so that you do have conscious contact with your higher power, or you do have conscious contact with level 1.
And your purpose is to show and demonstrate your story, to be a personal witness for how you found salvation through conscious contact with God?
I think, yeah, because everyone shares their story.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're on the same page before we start moving together. Does everyone have that understanding of what it is that all Course in Miracles groups, we should be living expressions that demonstrate how we found salvation through conscious contact with God. Isn't that why you meditate? Isn't that why you try to erase yourself utterly? Do we have a good, a mutual understanding then of what he's getting ready to say next?
Yeah, I do think that it has to do with that on my own, I'm helpless.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the same page, right? Hey, Sherilyn. Sherilyn, can you hear me? I think she just left.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Hey, are you available to talk?
Yes,
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm sorry to be late. I just forgot.
Well, I'm glad you made it here at all. Look at
Me too.
your technical skills and how they've improved, right?
They're improving. They're improving. Now I have to get my memory in gear.
Hey, it's all gonna flow together. I think we're into some very helpful discussion already.
Yes.
And we're just picking up where we left off in the comparison of A Course in Miracles and the 12-step program.
Yeah.
So listen, we are on reader 2, but the last reader was D. She was number 4. Sherilyn, would you like to read also? You'd be 5.
Oh, sure. Anytime.
Okay, good deal. So if it's okay, let's just pick up with where we left off. And sweetie, it's your turn, right?
Right. Those of you who in the past years have wondered why your 12-step program is resulting in your continuing, as we used to call it, white knuckling, in your refusal to let go and let God, usually will admit it has directly to do with your incapacity to admit what the 12-step program is. The 12-step program is literally a surrender to God. God as you understand him, or as we used to say, don't understand him. In that sense, then, the 12-step program is nothing but a surrender. This is the workbook of the course. And the realization that there is another way, not contained within the solutions of my own conflictual mind, or what is defined as my own perceptual reality. Do you see this? We discovered that in our weakness is our strength. Keep it simple, stupid.
Boy, oh boy. There's a lot here, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes.
Charles is gaining good credibility with me so far. He went through a significant bout of alcoholism in his life, and I think he almost died from it. So that's why he has such a testimony, I guess, here about it. At any rate, what does it mean, white knuckling? Do you see it in the first sentence?
Well, my phrase that I use for white knuckling is "suck it up, buttercup." You know, it's just and for me it's just putting one foot in front of another and it's just doing it. You know, I can only say for myself that until I actually put into action what I was learning in the program, I wasn't getting anywhere. I was just in that rotating cycle.
Yeah, I would, but here, I don't know, somebody else in 12 steps. Have you heard the phrase white knuckling? What did it mean to you?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
It means holding on to the ideas that never worked for us. Because the new ideas are, we have a resistance against the new ideas, which is a conscious contact with God, which is to let
That's
go
right.
and let God.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a nuanced difference, though, Kathleen, between what Sweetie's saying and what you were saying.
Who's
You
Rob?
said something like, okay, it's time to suck it up,
Yeah,
Buttercup,
everything's okay.
right?
Yep.
Vision of what you have to go on and do. But
Except the white knuckling means, the white knuckling kind of means the opposite of that. It means
so holding on.
refusing to suck it up, Buttercup.
Right. That's the
okay.
nuance I was trying to.
Okay, so that okay. That's
It's
never
like
that
not the solution, but it was the extreme problem before you let it go. Before you decided to suck it up, Buttercup. There was a white knuckling period. How am I doing?
Yep.
yeah, oh, that could very well be because I've never heard it explained the way that you're explaining it, sweetie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
since
Well,
you've
that's
been in
just
the
my
since-
experience.
yeah.
Okay. Now let's couple the rest of the statement, if you don't mind. Sweetie, read that first sentence, and I'll tell you when to read it again. Those of you.
Those of you who in the past years have wondered why your 12-step program is resulting in your continuing, as we used to call it, white knuckling, in your refusal to let go and let God, usually will admit it has directly to do with your incapacity to admit what the 12-step program is.
And what is the 12-step program?
It's a surrender to God.
Erase yourself utterly. We okay? We together so far with what's being said? Now,
Yeah, it's a great explanation because it's really saying exactly. I mean, you don't have to be in program to relate to like the ego holding on and not wanting to let go of how it thinks things should be done under my own control.
So let's talk about dualism versus monism. A Course in Miracles teaches you have to, God, Dee, thank you for that. You have to erase yourself utterly and be a vehicle for something instead of in control of something. You have to surrender utterly all of it. You can't have all of it if it's not all of it.
Right.
It can't be sometimes. There can't be something else. You can't do this part-time.
That's what the Course says, the no exception rule.
Non-dualism. Do you see? Okay, so how are we progressing through this paragraph? It's
great.
Okay. The 12-step program is literally a surrender to God, whether you understand God or not, right? It's all about surrender. Say it another way, erasing yourself utterly. You're not an individual. You're not a separate entity. You're part of one cloth that's working for a higher purpose. Don't be so arrogant. Now, this might sound like putting you down, but it's not really when you consider what you're a part of. Okay, so it's not a sacrifice not to be Jim.
Yeah, it's in essence, it's giving up your personality.
Precisely. That you're part of something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be so small, so egoic. Surrender. I love you, but you're not an individual. And thank God it is so. We all okay? Comments? And then keep it simple, stupid. That's in boldface print. What's that about? Where did that come from? How about Joan? Can you pick up and the realization that there is? Do you see it? You see it, Joan?
What?
And the realization that there is another way. Oh, are you muted or what, Joan? Can you hear me?
Yeah, not contained within the
Yeah,
solution.
start from and, A-N-D.
Yeah, you know,
He says, it's nothing but surrender. This is the workbook of the course. And then Joan says,
that's what it means to keep it simple. Don't think it's anything else but surrender.
and so, and the realization that there is another way. I want to make sure we get that into our discussion. And the realization that there is another way, not contained within the solutions of my own conflictual mind. See, because that, I mean, I don't understand that sentence. Let's break out. I mean, you wanted to go through it.
Okay,
It just stood out to
there is
me.
another way.
That's challenging. What does that mean?
What it means is you can't you can think, you can say, well, I'm in control, I'm giving up control, but in that sentence you can also be trying to be in control about giving up the control. So it's like what it says, it's like it's either it's nothing or it's either it's all or it's nothing, you know.
And to me, it also, Kathleen says, and you realize that you don't have the capacity to solve this using your logical mind.
Yeah, that's the implication.
So I just want to see all of, to me, beautiful things and clarifying things. And you go, yeah, that's right, if you're from AA. Or you go, yeah, that's right, if you're from A Course in Miracles. And that's what he's doing, is doing the showing so far how they're alike. Has he said anything about how they're different yet? Well, we got 44 pages, so I'm just saying, okay. But one of the things I'm reminded of is what Sweetie said a week or so ago, is she was impressed with AA's use of the pronoun we, whereas the Course always says he. So it's not a big deal. We're just ACIM 12-step talking, right? So anyhow, any other comments? Did we do keep it simple, stupid?
It's like your best thinking got you here.
And then you had a bright discovery. Your best thinking got you to give up.
Mhm.
And to your surprise, it was not a sacrifice. So I'm willing to give it up because this one is unmanageable. Are you ready to give it up totally?
Mhm.
Well, stop fooling around and making excuses. Keep it simple. Surrender. The sooner you do, the sooner you'll discover it was one of the best moves you ever made. But you can't see that on this side of the veil. You have to actually do it. Not think about, remember the Wayne Dyer, I'm trying to pick up this penny, I'm trying, but you never did it. There's theory. And what else, my friends? What goes with theory?
Practicality, practice.
Practice.
Application, yes.
Yeah.
Its benefits only emerge when you do it. Is that non-dualism? Is that leading a horse to water, but you can't make them drink? At some point, the friggin' horse got the, there's nothing you can do about it. It's up to the horse, right?
Mhm.
Am I getting too far away from 12 steps or from A Course in Miracles? Or don't you see it's all around us?
Hmm.
There are many versions of the universal curriculum. A Course in Miracles is one of them. But it's been helpful, right? Because we can extrapolate all across our lives and see these principles or the lack of them at work. Comments, or Jim's crazy again?
Neither.
Yes. Somebody say something?
I said neither. I don't have a comment, and you're not crazy. Again.
Oh, God. All right, I'm moving into the A zone tonight, guys, right? All right, well, why don't we continue with our reading? Joan, you read some, right?
No, I didn't.
You didn't read? Go right ahead. Would you please start here, the simplicity of the 12-step program?
Okay. The
Thanks.
simplicity of the 12-step program and of A Course in Miracles must escape the perceptual mind because it is a mechanism of self-complication. Very fundamental in the 12-step program is the idea of an attitude of gratitude. It is the certainty that your sobriety or your release from the addictive captivity of drug dependence had nothing to do with your self-will, but came solely from a miraculous intervention of a higher power. A miracle, then, is nothing but a complete momentary undoing of bondage to self-conception.
Comments so far?
Mhm.
Well, let's read a little bit more. Dee?
Well, I think it's a really important point, that attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
Well, you have to say more than that, Miss Newman.
Very fundamental into 12-step program is the idea of an attitude of gratitude. To take, to to have my consciousness in gratitude instead of poor me or what's wrong or anything else it gets me very far.
So if you're desperate enough to have realized that your only salvation is to get help,
and that there is help outside of myself,
what you're starting to go from is fear to, thank goodness, there's a chance I have a solution to where I'm going to jump off the cliff and try it. I have a theory. This just might work, because Lord knows I hope it works, because Lord knows my life was unmanageable. I'll surrender, or I'll try to the best of my ability. And now you enter the door of a day-to-day process, like you do with the workbook in the course.
Mm.
I'm going to spend some time working on this. I've had a lot of brilliant ideas. My best thinking got me where I am. Maybe I don't have the ability in my logic. I have to let it go. I have to trust. I got to jump off this cliff. Thank goodness only have to do it a day at a time. So now I just have to be willing to work the plan, chop wood, carry water, exert infinite patience that it'll bring a good result. Isn't that what surrender is?
Yes.
Does that ring?
I don't know if there's gratitude in surrender. Is there? Typically.
I'm defining what surrender is objectively. I'm not speaking to its emotional ramifications for you.
Okay.
It all seems like a sacrifice.
Right. So
But
there
I
wouldn't
have
be
to
gratitude.
trust it's gonna be a blessing, and God, I hope it is a blessing, because my life was unmanageable. I'll give it a try. And then I just hope it'll turn out it's something I'm grateful for. And then when you see it start to work, do you see how you can't help but be progressively grateful, because it turned darkness into light for me? Anybody?
Yeah, I don't think for me there was even there was no hope that it would turn into gratitude, because it was just more of a desperation of nothing I tried worked. Let me try something else. There was not a moment of being grateful. That came afterwards.
Well, that's my point. Afterwards, when all in one
when
day,
I saw that it works by turning to God.
But when did you see that it worked? A day at a time, and you look back and say, well, okay, this is okay. Can I do it? And then there's a day you look back and say, thank God it changed my life. Now, what was that time period? You with me, Dee?
Yeah. And I don't know how to answer what that time period was. I don't know.
Year?
I think it was, honestly, at the point that I decided, what the heck, I may as well try something else. It was immediate, honestly.
Right. See, it happens over various periods, and they're individualized paths. The point was that at some point you decided to open the door and
Correct.
start. You didn't know what the finish was going to be, that was trust, even if it was trust born out of desperation. I have no other options. It brought me to my knees to choose the blessing.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. It wasn't even trust to me. It was just a willingness.
Yeah.
It was just a willingness to try something new.
Out of yes, I see what you mean, Dee.
There was no trust.
Trust is not even achieved yet.
No.
Right. It's just willingness. All right. Well, we good on that? Are we sounding like a generally together family on this whole thing? Or all right. Where are we? Did we do simplicity of the 12 step? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And then we were going to do a second paragraph, and Dee had a comment, and we talked about that. But Dee, I think it's your turn. The magnitude of gratitude. Do you see it?
I don't see it.
On 12.
Do you see the document?
Yeah.
It's the next paragraph.
At the top, the magnitude of gratitude inherent.
I don't. Oh, the magnitude of gratitude. There it is.
Okay.
Okay. The magnitude of gratitude inherent in this miraculous occurrence of freedom is far, far beyond any conceptual explanation of it. The happy realization of self-certainty, intrinsic in God dependency, is grievously rejected and denied by the judgmental defiance of your meaningless self-will.
Yeah, to me, it says it could never make sense to my ego.
Mm-hmm.
We okay so far?
Mm-hmm.
Comments?
Yeah, if the last sentence of the paragraph before the one I just read ties right into is a momentary undoing of bondage to self-conception. So we go another meta concept is we go from self-confirmation to God confirmation.
So what's your reference in the document? The happy realization, right, of self-service?
Well, yeah, starting from the sentence before.
Yes. And your point was again?
We go from self-confirmation, which is the ego, to God confirmation.
Yeah, and part of that is realizing there's no way out of this I don't have a solution that I can think of in my constellation of what's possible. It's impossible. I'm desperate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk for a minute. How does that, do you see that same level of desperation in Course in Miracles students? I mean, what's occurring to me in 12 steps a lot of times, if things are really getting in critical proportion, but I'm not so sure Course in Miracles students experience the idea of surrender in such a severe way. I mean,
well, I don't necessarily agree with that, James.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the idea that of accepting the concept of that the world is an illusion, the concept of that I am not a body. I mean, I could go on and on. They are very difficult concepts to accept when you've had a lifetime of contrary ideas.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, sweetie.
And that's the surrender of that concept that yes, finally, this is an illusion. When you see it, that finally, yes, the body has no meaning relative to my consciousness.
Well,
You know, we all have those aha moments. And I love the fact that he's got it that in that last line of the previous paragraph, the word momentary. We have momentary undoing of that kind of bondage to our old ideas until it finally, we have those moments often and often and often and more often until it finally sinks in. Oh, that must be the way it really is.
yeah. Comments on what Sweetie's saying? Comments on anything else? Our time is coming up here for it tonight.
This was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love the slow pace that we're going at, looking
Yeah.
at sentence by sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yet, do you see how the slow pace becomes an extraordinary gift because you can extrapolate these things universally? It's like we're getting a 50,000-foot view, and we see things aren't as complicated as they seem from down here. Y'all know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're like putting it together. Could you call that wisdom?
Sure.
So we're not as intimidated by every little thing, every little fear thought, because we see where things are coming from. We're above the battleground on it now. So it's not as painful, not as anxiety producing. We stay calmer more often. Life is a bit easier, and at least in terms of peace of mind. You see, we found something that seems to work. So I don't know about you, but I'm back to gratitude as we close out tonight.
Mm.
Yeah.
Same here. I'll
Yeah.
join you in that.
How about the rest of you?
Yes, definitely.
Sure.
All right, then give me a quick payment here, right quick, before we go. I can do the screen. I'm looking for smiles.
Mhm.
Check, check. One more here. Check. Thank you, my friends. We
Thank you.
left off on, we start at page 12. We'll start on full paragraph 2, where it says, rarely have we seen a person fail. Is that okay?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Well, my week's off to a good start, and I hope yours is too. And I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Thank everyone. Namaste.
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 God
Thank
bless
you all.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.